Will Smith could never have imagined that just by looking at his mobile phone one more time, he and his wife would be separated by 2 worlds. The accident took his wife and 6 other lives, although the police later ruled that the other party was driving in the opposite direction. But he could not forgive himself for the crime committed. People always say you have to move on in life, but that blood-soaked night tormented him every minute of every day. He thought about just throwing himself into the arms of the sea, but it seemed too cheap to die like that. So he decided to split himself into 7 gifts and use the happiness of 7 people to atone for his sins. After a month of screening, Will compiled a list of names. The 7 lucky winners on the list will each receive a gift from Will. In order to avoid being entrusted with the wrong person, Will had to look closely at them. The first winner is a blind customer who will receive a cornea from Will. Will pretends to be a customer and calls the blind man. On the phone, he picks on the other company's products and tries to irritate him with dirty and vulgar words. Will uses insults to irritate him, but he really wanted to help Will on the other end of the line. Will said in a humiliating tone that it didn't need help from a blind customer service agent. Will brags about his ability to see beautiful things and mocks blind people for not being able to see anything. Will says the most heartbreaking things in the harshest of terms. But the blind man is not angry at all and is still answering Will's questions. Will continues to provoke the blind man to say angry things to himself, but the blind man just gently says thank you to the customers. Will says he's too much of a coward to speak his mind. In the face of unwarranted humiliation, Turner feels very aggrieved, but out of respect and decency, he just politely ended the call. But Will couldn't control his emotions and fell into deep self-blame. He didn't really want to do this, but he had to make sure that the people he gave gifts to were worthy of help. Over the next few days, Will tried to get a closer look at him. He watched him shakily walk home from work and watched him optimistically play the piano for pedestrians even in the dark. The repetition of his work didn't take away his courage to take life seriously. The gray world did not erase the light in his heart. In the dark corner of the bar, Will finally saw Turner's deepest desire. He longed for the colors of the world and for a relationship that would last forever. Will was curious and asked him why he didn't show his feelings, but he was surprised by the answer he got. Turner said it was impossible, but Will says, "You never know unless you try." Turner thinks that girls don't look for guys like him. Listening to the other party's sincere answer, Will's heart has an answer. He decided to use his corneas to brighten the gray world of the man in front of him. The second lucky winner is the director of a nursing home, who will receive Will's bone marrow. Will approached him under the guise of his brother, an IRS investigator, but he was surprised by the results of his investigation. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in unpaid taxes at the nursing home, but the director buys a new luxury car with public funds. When Will confronts him, the director is more than a little defensive, saying that his days are numbered and that he wants to provide for his family. Instead of dismissing him, Will decides to give him a chance. After all, in his opinion, this is not an unforgivable sin, but the sordid scene in the nursing home ignites Will's anger. Will suspects that the director has abused the old woman. He asks the old woman how the director had abused her. The old woman faltered and tried to answer him, but she couldn't stop crying when she thought of the painful memories. Will saw how the old woman cried and realized that she must have been terribly mistreated. He angrily went to the director of the hospital and denounced him as a monster, and was glad he hadn't trusted him with his bone marrow. Sure enough, he was right. Not all people deserve help. The third lucky winner is a hockey coach who will get Will's kidney. Though his kidneys were failing and taking away the old man's life all the time, but he continues to work diligently, teaching each and every one of his students. Will also learn that the old man had used his remaining pension to support the education of several orphans. When Will told the old man about his decision, the old man was puzzled by his behavior. Will simply replied, "Because you are a good man." It was in this same hospital that Will met the lucky boy who replaced the dean. This little boy grew up with leukemia. Over the years, the family had used up all their savings to treat the boy. Although the boy's condition continued to deteriorate, they didn't give up. The bone marrow match was successful. Will did not choose to use anesthesia, but forced to endure the pain to complete the bone marrow extraction. After all, his body cannot withstand the destruction. Once he had recovered a little bit, Will contacted the fourth lucky winner, a woman who had been suffering from domestic violence for a long time. Her boyfriend would beat her up every time he drank heavily, often until she was a bloody mess. She was afraid to break up with him, and even more so, she was afraid to call the police for help. She is an illegal immigrant and the mother of 2 children. This violent boyfriend is the only thing he has left in the us. Will flashes his IRS aid and offers to help her. It's just that a long history of misery can make you lose faith in everything. Pawnee couldn't trust Will with this sudden stranger. He only has time to leave a business card before she kicks him out of the house. Unsurprisingly, Pawnee was still being abused by her boyfriend. After one of her boyfriend's beatings, Pawnee clung to the straw that Will had left behind. Will gave her his car and an address. Traveling along the road to the address Will gave her, Pawnee eventually arrived at a beach house with a contract and a letter on the table. The beach house was matrimonial home with his wife, and now he chose to give it to her for free. This is his gift to the mother, hoping that this land can heal her wounds. So far Will has given 4 of his 7 gifts, excluding the lawns. He left for his brother and the liver of the woman at the welfare center. There is only one last gift left to be given. What Will didn't expect was that the last of the lucky winners would come along and revive his gray life. What changes did she bring to Will's life, and will it make a difference where they end up? I'm a Bulldog Movie. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.